The ultimate guide to getting rid of social anxiety. If you've clicked on this video, you should rid yourself of social anxiety, because for too long it has plagued you in your life. It's plagued the way that you exude confidence, who you show up as, how you interact with others, and just how you carry yourself and the embodiment of self as you go throughout life. In order for us to understand how to get rid of social anxiety, we must first define it. I'll start by defining anxiety. I'm going to use the word anxiousness to define anxiety, as anxiety is the condition and anxiousness is the word or the emotion that you feel. So anxiety is the anxious feeling that arises from anticipating the worst case scenario. So therefore, social anxiety is the anxious feeling that arises from anticipating social exile, which is embarrassment or ego death of any nature. According to science, anxiety came from our primitive time, as our means of survival was dependent on our ability to belong in groups. And being outcasted from these groups basically meant death. Fast forward to today, it is the mental burden in which we bound ourselves by. Fast forward to today, it is the fear of immediate embarrassment. So how do you rid yourself of such an emotion? It's first to learn to be an individual and to stop caring about what other people think of you. The reason why you care about what other people think of you is because you've forgotten what you think of yourself. In life, we outsource the things that we don't know how to do ourselves. But in terms of our emotions, we outsource the ones that we have forgotten to give ourselves. When you are in lack of a self-identity, you ask others to assign you one. But if they are the people who are able to assign you an identity, they are the same ones that can rob you of it, right? And quite frankly, in today's time, it's become difficult for us to find a self-identity, as we are in constant consumption of social media, which set the standard of how we should be, what we should have, and who we really are. Learning how to become self-competent and learning to become an individual has to come at you removing yourself from such influences and getting to know yourself better, right? Because once you become competent in thyself, competence being a deep knowing and understanding of self, it becomes difficult for external factors to influence how you see yourself, your self-image. Pretty much what anybody ever thinks of you is simply a projection of what they think of themselves. Why? Because we all experience life from one perspective, our own. Hence, we can only ever hold others to the same standards that we hold ourselves. So when somebody gives you advice, they're not giving advice, they're sharing experiences in hopes you find something that resonates. When they criticize, they're advising you on things that they wouldn't do themselves. Compliment. It's only something that they'll notice about themselves. And an insult is only something they wouldn't want somebody to say to them. So any negative criticism that you're afraid of receiving from others is actually a window into how they see themselves, their limiting beliefs, and their unhealed trauma. Through this understanding, what you can do is free yourself from the burden of other people's perspectives and understand that you care too much for it simply because you've forgotten your own. So take the time out of your day and out of your life to develop a stronger sense of self-identity. And you can do this by taking the time to understanding your reasons why and your purpose for things, right? The emotions that arise. Why is it that you feel a certain way towards things? Figure out what your trauma is and how to overcome it. You see, once we understand that, we shouldn't care about what people think of us. To logically understand that and to emotionally implement are two different things. Because, our emotions don't work on logic. They work on emotional conviction. But it's only through consistently reminding ourselves that we've adopted a new perspective can we move forward into a direction of self-growth. For example, when you're out in public and you're thinking, fuck, what do they think of me? Or if I do this, what are they going to think of me? You remind yourself only as much as they think of themselves. And that switch, that paradigm shift from changing the angle to looking at it from a me perspective to it's only as much as they think of themselves perspective. What it does is it frees you and separates yourself from that emotion of being self-conscious. Reason number 2, you're a people pleaser, right? You want people to like you. But the honest truth is not everybody you encounter in this life is going to like you. To some extent, we as creatures are narcissistic, right? And we operate from a self-serving lens. And the people who we like and gravitate towards oftentimes either remind us of a version of ourselves we like, or are the embodiment of the version of ourselves that we desire to be. And that's who we tend to gravitate towards. So if somebody doesn't particularly like you or they're indifferent about you, right? It's simply because you don't remind them of the version of themselves that they are now that they like, or you aren't a reminder of the version of themselves that they want to be. And when you tend to understand how self-serving and to some degree selfish individuals are when it comes to how they operate in life, this should allow you to detach from, caring about what they think and also having a desire for them to actually like you. A big part of people pleasing is the desire for respect. Oftentimes, it's respect we desire. When you consider respect comes from when you consider those you respect, you often respect the people who've done or have the things that you desire yourself. This could be accolades, material items, a physique, even a particular person, so on and so forth. All the above could be summarized to a decision. They've made a decision that you desire to make, but you haven't made. And then you also, for the reason being, because you understand the weight of that decision, right? So with having that understanding, you desiring another person to respect is you desiring to have made decisions they desire to make and you haven't made. And when you say that out loud, it actually sounds kind of foolish, right? And people's ability to respect you is simply dependent on whether what you do or who you are is in alignment of the version of the self that they want to be. And when you understand how everything that anybody can ever think of you or how people see you actually comes from mostly how they see themselves, it becomes extremely freeing, right? To not care about what they think. Because then you ask yourself, why is their opinion more important than mine? Because if their opinion is more important than yours, like, you live your life, right? So your opinion should be the most important and theirs comes secondary. The only time you actually allow to care about what somebody thinks of you is if they're going to die with you. Quite frankly, they're not going to die with you. So there's nobody's opinion you should actually care about. Another thing is the concept of death. The root of all fear is death. Dying in a certain state. See, we describe social anxiety as being the anxiousness that arises from anticipating the worst case scenario, being social exile. And as we mentioned back in the days, our means of survival was our ability to belong in groups, and being outcasted basically meant death. To understand that not being liked or people not gravitating towards you doesn't cause you your own death, like you'll survive. It's okay to be an individual. It's okay to be by yourself. In fact, all the greatest experiences in life actually come from you being an individual. You figuring out what you want in your life. You figuring out what your values are. You seeking what you find fun. So factoring out how people perceive you and what they think of decisions you make is actually the most liberating thing you can do for yourself as an individual. But all that aside, the version of you that actually cares most about what other people think or that want other people to like them is the child version of you that felt like they never received that in its entirety when they were younger. And the quickest way to soothe yourself from desiring those things and feeling like that is to comfort your inner child the second those emotions come up. If you're having a conversation in a social setting and you feel yourself caring too much about other people think or wanting people to interact with you in a certain way, I want you to mentally, within your own mind, comfort that inner child of yours to say, you're enough and you no longer need their validation. You are enough as you are and you are not in need of their validation. And this comes with a sense of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance comes with the understanding of your self-worth. Having a solid self-worth foundation comes with the understanding that you are worthy of all experiences. Because that's what you're here to do in this life. Simply to experience it. And the faster you can soothe that child and their cravings, the faster those emotions will be eliminated, right? And you will no longer feel the desire to outsource your validation, to outsource your sense of self-worth. And you become more confident, more of an individual. And the embodiment of somebody who's sure of themselves. And remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It comes through constant reinforcements of the new ideologies and paradigms in which you have developed. So take it easy on yourself. Don't judge yourself. When those feelings come up, remember the technique of, soothing your inner child, validating your inner child, reminding he or she that they are enough and they are in no need of anybody else's validation. And allow yourself to have the time to actually get to know yourself and be sure of what it is that you want. This is your reminder that you always were and always are enough. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.